Welcome to SFG Top Performance. Today we have our regulars, Jason and Derrick. Derrick's gonna fill us in on what he's seeing out there.
You bet. So it's been a little while since we've had a podcast, so I've been doing a lot of work getting the fields caught up, and we're sitting a really good spot right now. Had a pretty good run, so just wanted to kind of go over to see what is going on out in the fields right now. And right now my kind of role, I'm running around looking to see at corn emergence and looking to see how chemicals are working out in the fields. I was there this morning, and one of the pre's that we sprayed just wasn't killing weeds quite as good as it should have been. So the big story there is it's just got to spray them earlier. The weeds were a little big. Got to make sure you have the right chemicals there. Get good coverage. We had about half a kill on henbit, and henbit's one that once it gets started on that carpet, it's hard to get every single growing point killed on it. We were spraying a burner type product, and you could see where half of it was burned on it, but the other half grew out of it. So it's getting big now. It probably won't affect any yield now because it's a winter annual. It's getting towards the end of its lifetime. All the corn's up. So the only issue I've seen with henbit over the last few years is if you get a big carpet of it, and then the corn kernel sitting in dry dirt and you can't get it out of the ground. But since it's all up and out of the ground, I don't think how it'll hurt any yield, and we'll get it cleaned up on the second pass, because here in 2 weeks we're going to be spraying second pass already. We're already on a lot of the early planted corn that April 10th and 11th been in the ground. We're going on 4 weeks here on Monday, and we were spraying it then. So we talk about residuals 4 to 6 weeks on our pre's, so it's going to be time to spray post here real quick. Even though that corn's only 2-3 inches tall, we can't forget those weeds. Those weeds are going to start coming again. I've already seen some grass breaking. That's the only thing I've seen really, and it'll be easy to control here until we've had to do a little bit of spot spraying, but nothing too crazy. It's been cold, so the weeds haven't been growing either. Jason, what have you been seeing in your area?
A lot of things similar to what you're talking about. I know we were a little worried about the dry weather and not getting the chemicals activated and whatnot, and maybe getting some photo degradation on top before the rain got it incorporated. But I really don't think we had a lot of that, because things are looking pretty clean. Like you said, maybe some field edges, a little grass is on some half-right products, but we're going to see that right now with as close to post-spraying as we are, and some of those have been in the ground 5 weeks or 4 or 5, right in that neighborhood, quite a while since we sprayed it. So it's looking really good for the weather we've had. And you also mentioned your uneven emergence. A lot of this corn was planted April 10th, 11th. Mm-hmm. It did come up uneven. It was dry. A lot of other factors. It got cold. But, it might have come up all over the place, but this warm weather has really evened it out. And I know you and I talked this morning, Derrick, so I pulled into a field and looked real quick, and the leaves they're both about V2, V3. So I think our leaf has come back. We got enough with this heat we had this weekend. I think we're going to be in good shape with our tasseling time and everything. I don't think the uneven emergence is going to affect things as bad as we were worried about. If we wouldn't have got this really nice spell, I think we probably would have had some problems there. But after our conversation this morning, we were kind of worried about that, and it's evened out a lot in these fields. I'm amazed at that. So, what are you seeing? The similar things, Derrick?
Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of uneven emergence, and guys worried, with the stuff that came up 3 or 4 days later, is that going to be a weed? But like you said, a lot of it was pretty much just wherever that trash was taken off, and it was a little cooler there. The large areas kind of came up uneven. It wasn't, you had one plant that came up on day 1, skipped one that came up on day 4, and then another one that came up on day 1, where that one in the middle would be a weed. It was 10, 15 feet that had more trash that it's all filling in. And that was one the last couple of weeks been kind of talking guys off the ledge a little bit with replant corn. Like it took a full essentially 4 weeks to get it out of the ground, and that is concerning. But what was really nice is we had moisture that whole time, and we were getting just a little bit of rain to keep everything with some moisture on the seed, but we weren't getting the 2-3 inch rains that was making it mucky and making the seed rotten. Like I didn't see hardly any seeds that rotted in the ground were mushy, didn't come up. It just came up slow. But there was probably a full week that we had no growing degree units. So it was just, we had that one nice week that everyone was planting. The field conditions were right. You had to be out there planting, and then it just got cold for 2 weeks. But so far I haven't seen anything concerning in the corn side yet. Had my first soybean replant we had to do, and it just got early, and it wasn't really probably just cool and wet conditions, and it came up about 50%, but you'd have one area of the field that was really good, and then one area that had 10 or 12 or 10 or 20,000 plants per acre. So it's one of those things, part of the field is really darn good, but you just go in the whole thing with a low rate and cover it. And that was really nice. It was a Mershman bean, so it was a 100% replant, so the seed doesn't cost anything, but go spike them in, and the weather's nice and it's still early, so you can still even do a full season soybean and not have any issues. But that is the project I'm working on here later today, getting those other beans in the ground. But Charles, how has the spraying gone the last month or so?
Well, for the most part, we're pretty caught up. Been staying pretty caught up. Everything's, we haven't had any major pushbacks as in the weather. The weather's rained in certain areas. Some areas didn't. We could move around. But anyway, everything's went pretty well. Fertilizer, we can say for the most part's done. We'll be side dressing here before we know it. We know it will. It's we just talked the other day. I don't know how fast it's went, but it's went super fast for everything did. I looked back and I think it was May 11th, a year ago, is when we first started doing some major burn down spraying for all the crops. And of course, by this one, same thing's done as in everything we did. So everything, we sprayed for 3 or 4 weeks here straight. And so we're 3 or 4 weeks ahead of schedule versus last year. I know last year was way behind, but anyway, it's just kind of neat. I look back just to see where we were at, and it's kind of neat to see how much we actually got done. But man, we got a lot of work done. We always do in a short amount of time, and everybody had good information, good maps, good everything that makes everything flow good, and haven't really had any hiccups. So haven't had it. Now the crop's starting to come up, so it's getting a little more challenging. Got to make sure trucks are clean and sprayers are clean, and everything's going really good. So, well, I want to thank you for joining us this time. We'll look again for you sometime. Thank you.